Better than Soto, and you get Chris Stratton. I mean, you fill a need. Jose Quintana, good
The
numbers.
Soto from the Tigers.
He's good too, actually.
I know.
Gregory Soto. But look, maybe they get Soto, but you needed this no matter what. And you don't really lose anything off the big league roster this year because Oviedo leaves, but you get Chris Stratton. You get two guys whose peripheral numbers are better than their baseball card stats. And even somebody like Quintana, he's having a good year. I just think sometimes we fall in love with the names. And if you look at the next 2 months of the season, I mean, there's a good chance Quintana could be one of the better rental pitchers out there. He's having a really good season. I mean, he was really good early, and then he kind of fell off the last 3-4 years, but he's really good this year.
3.5 ERA. I think he's got like a ton of no decisions because he's playing for the Pirates. You would think, and the numbers are good, the peripherals, as you say, are good. You expect they'll get better with the Cardinals because they'll have defense behind them and a little offensive support, which he had none of in Pittsburgh. But I go back to when the Cubs got him years ago, and that was like their big pickup that was going to put him over the top. He pitched okay for the Cubs, but not great. Didn't put him over the top. But he's a legitimate starter. He's not sexy. He's not the guy I wanted. But you look at the numbers, you go, this guy will help them.
Who'd you want?
I want somebody sexy.
I wanted Lance Lynn.
Yeah.
And I wanted Soto in the lineup.
I know.
You can still get Soto. It's not over.
Soto.
And actually, I mean, more teams are making deals that you would think would have been in on Soto kind of dropping off. So maybe there's less competition. Supposedly the Dodgers are in now. You know, I don't know what Cam is hearing. I don't know what Cam is hearing.
I'm hearing things.
But you also wonder, too, you know, if the ask is huge, which it's going to be, if the Cardinals are willing to part with Walker and Wynn and, you know, Dylan Carr. Who knows what the ask is? But at some point, if you're the Cardinals, you're like, okay, I'm not so sure that this is, you know, as great as he is this too much? So who knows?
Oh, you know, Matty Whitener will be pissed if they get rid of that Jordan Walker. Supposed to be a stud.
But the other side of that argument is you already know what Soto is, and he's 23, and he's already one of the generational meaning top talent you can acquire. Instead of waiting to see if a guy can be that, you know, out of the box he is, so he's worth the ask.
I say, F them kids. Get him. Seriously.
But not all of them.
Get most of them. You can take most of them. I want Soto. I want the crotch grabbing. I want Loud. I want him to hit bombs left and right. Always something when he goes up to the plate. I want Soto.
I think there's some top prospects of the Cardinals that they're probably not as high on as the rankings, but then again, maybe other teams also see that. Like if you look at their prospect rankings, I'm sure they covet keeping someone like Mason Wynn over, let's say, Matthew Liberatore, Ivan Herrera. But Wynn is ranked
fourth. Do you think so?
100%.
Yeah, I know.
100 million %. So you can give them your second and third best prospects, which is what? Matthew Liberatore, Ivan Herrera. If I'm the Nationals, I want Wynn.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Liberatore fan, but I don't think the projections of what he can be are up there with a guy like Wynn or Walker by any stretch. I don't care where they're ranked. I think teams know that. I think potentially the first two we mentioned are probably the teams, the guys that teams are thinking those are the guys we want. Liberatore would be great, don't get me wrong, and those are the two I don't think the Cardinals really want to part with. Walker and Wynn.
I think you'll have to part with one of them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Do it.
But both?
Is that it?
Who cares?
Is that it? Just those two?
No, I don't think. I think you would also have to give up a Tyler O'Neill or a Dylan Carlson.
I like T. O'Neill, but I don't care anymore. I want that Soto.
It's just a big difference. It's all about, too, the Nationals, and do they want to wait another 3 years to compete?
Yeah.
Or do they want to try to win and start this thing next year? Because Dylan Carlson gets you a major league ready player with 4.5 years control. Even if you get, let's say, Wynn and Walker, both those guys are in Double-A. Even if they make their debuts, Walker probably will make his debut next year. Wynn, maybe, but it's more so 2 years away probably from being legit MLB contributors. So if I'm the Nationals also, I mean, are you putting away winning for another 2 years?
Probably.
I mean, you won a World Series 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You're now with a new ownership group. You're just going to say, we're chilling. We don't care for 2 years.
I don't know.
That's called a rebuild. But what they also want, and then when
They've rebuilt for 3 years.
I'm reading, not hearing, that people closer to it than I said that the Nats want a ready-to-go outfielder now and prospect. So that would fit the bill. They want someone to plug in now so they can get to that point. But if you're rebuilding and you're not even thinking about keeping Soto because you can't afford him, that tells you your fan base will give you a couple of years to make up for that. I mean, they offered him $400 and something million, and he turned it down. I think that buys you a little time with your fan base. It's not like you walked away from him.
Yeah, well, they're clearly willing to spend. It's not like you can't afford him from the fact of you're being cheap. It's that he's a Scott Boras guy, and there's no chance on earth he's not hitting free agency, and he's probably going to sign a $500 million ticket.
And you tried. They put a decent offer on the table, more than decent.
Sir Nathaniel, who would you give up? Who do you not want to give up? What would you do if you were the puppet master in this organization with that grin that you got back there behind the glass, Sir Nathaniel? What would you do? What wouldn't you do? Go.
Look, I feel the same way after the Cardinals acquired Steven Matz in the offseason. All right, that's nice. Now let's see what the main on-course is.
A fat tomahawk?
Let's hope. I mean, come on.
Yes, I know.
What are we doing? Like the Yankees, they have two guys go down and they go out and they trade for Andrew Benintendi and they get Frankie Montas yesterday. and now, no Yankees fan is sitting there. Okay, let's just play a little game. Let's say that Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker might be a little different, but let's say Mason Wynn and Michael McGreevy and some of these names that you're hearing being thrown around as first-round picks are being talked about in a deal by the Yankees. You think any Yankees fan gives a hoot about, we might have Mason Wynn play middle infield in a few years. No, we could go get an all-star and Andrew Benintendi, a proven winner, and have an all-star lineup like we're trying to do to win a World Series. So we seem to overvalue our prospects. We were told for years that the best talent in the world, and I'm biased by this too because I saw most of them come up. I thought Dylan Carlson was going to be a perennial all-star. He's hitting 250. We thought, all these guys who are supposed to be the top echelon prospect have gotten here and not moved the needle. They're good players. They're not great players. I want winners.
That's it.
I understand that, but
But what?
Well, I'm just about to tell you.
He's riled up back there.
No, I'm about to tell you. The reality in baseball is prospects are the currency. Look, I get what you're saying, and if you can get a guy like Soto, because I think I just laid it out
pretty
kind
well
of along the lines, he's a generational talent, out of the box, ready to go. You don't have to wait and see if he's going to become that. He is that at age 23. That's why we're talking about the ask that we're talking about. So I agree with you. But, to act like the prospects don't matter, outside of the Yankees world, and the Red Sox, maybe the Mets, Dodgers, obviously, everyone else has to live in a reality where currency in baseball isn't just money, it's young talent under control. And those are big pieces that are the currency that most teams use outside of the major market teams that can afford to swing and miss on a lot of talent. There's a ton of guys, that are big-ticket free agents that end up being terrible. And a team like the Yankees, Dodgers, whatever, that doesn't hamstring them that bad. It does for other teams. That's why the other currency is an important piece, too. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like the needle, though, is moving. The game is evolving to a point that I don't know how sustainable it is, where the top dogs are so clearly the top dogs that if you just want to be one of these teams that's sort of like, claw your way into the playoffs and see how you do, it's sort of just like asking to get your ass beat in the first or second round. And that's kind of what the Cardinals have done. Even when they got to the NLCS, they sort of meandered their way there, and then they played the Nationals, and they got brutally exposed. So I just, maybe Major League Baseball needs to take a look at this, but I don't think they're going to anytime soon. And right now I see several teams being in a way different league than the next tier.
I get that.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair point. Although I will say, like, if Tyler O'Neill, and it's an if, so maybe it's my rights holder rosy colored glasses, right? But if O'Neill was O'Neill, and one injury less, Jack Flaherty is Jack Flaherty. I think the Cardinals would be comparable to the big boys, right? But I think the lesser teams are more exposed when they do hit injuries and how they patchwork it, right? I think that's the big separator. Because think about it. What the Cardinals have at the corners, that's as good as anyone in baseball. What the Cardinals had in the outfield, building with young outfielders, that outfield was comparable to most outfield in baseball. So what happens? They get injuries. Tyler O'Neill's not Tyler O'Neill. And now a lot of people are thinking he can't recreate what he was last year. I'm just saying the difference is if you run into injuries and you're the Cardinals, you don't handle it probably the same way the Dodgers do or the Yankees.
Well, let's say you're going to a lake house, all right?
Oh, let's
and
go.
There's two lake houses side by side.
Let's go.
And they all
and they're
have this,
both owned by wealthy people
And one
That's
has
right,
that
very
somehow
wealthy.
you have a connection to,
And they-
which is odd to
One
me.
has
all
girls, the other
have-
has dudes.
They both have the same toys. Let's say the wave runners, they've got boats, they've got trampolines, they've got slip-ins, whatever they've got. But one house that has the identical toys, well, the wave runner doesn't really start. The boat, actually, the
Leaks
prop
oil.
fell off yesterday. The trampoline's got a hole in the middle of it. Oh, actually, their mansion, the air conditioning doesn't really work. So we get to play with all the same toys. Unfortunately, we can't really use the toys because they're in the broken bin, and that sucks.
The broken bin.
You just made a lake house analogy.
No,
Well
no,
done.
but
sir.
no, Nate, that's so true though. You go down. What's going on? Oh, it's broken. What's up with that? It's really warm in here. Oh, the AC doesn't work. No, I
Keep
get
it
you.
out there for the aesthetics.
Yeah,
it looks
look.
good. We look like we play with the big boys, but really,
I'm
our
going into the
insurance
other
company
house.
does. Yeah, me
Is
too.
slip and slide good or no? Is that all?
Ruined your grass.
Let me tell you something. Have you ever had to set up one of those blow-up slip-and slides? There's about 15 different holes you got to find to blow air into it. And by the time you're done, you want to crack a beer so bad, and you're exhausted and it's hot. I did it recently.
Wait, these are adult slip and slides?
No, this is like for kids.
I can't picture Nate like playing with toys and stuff. I just can't picture it. Like, it's just like was he ever a kid?
No, it's like he's like Alex P. Keaton.
He's like, he never played with kids. He never.
You don't know Alex P. Keaton?
I don't know
Growing Pains, Michael J. Fox. He at age in this sitcom, he was like the 10-year-old kid who was worried about money and politics.
Yeah. That was a good show, Michael J. Fox. That was good back
I'll
in
have
the
to
day.
check that out.
80s. That was an 80s show. I know.
To be fair, though,
Yep.
the Atlanta Braves, similar payroll.
Okay.
Similar payroll. Won the World Series last year. Very similar record to the Cardinals. Remember that series last year? Post-trade deadline. Atlanta Braves redid their outfield, grabbed a couple relievers. Both teams right around 500. Braves go on to win the World Series. So
Here's what I was-
those type of teams, you can get in. And if you make smart moves, like last year, the Braves made some strong moves. They said, our outfield sucks. We're going to throw 4 dudes at it. We're going to get 4 major league players, and basically all of them came in and were really good for them in the postseason.
I mean, but what the Braves did, kind of defied the odds a little bit. Everyone they got suddenly got red hot. It all worked out beautifully for them. Sometimes it doesn't. But I agree. Those pickups last year out of nowhere became some of their best players.
But they were good players, though. Like what the Braves did,
some of them were
those moves were much stronger than the Cardinals' moves of getting Lester and Happ, even though those worked out for the Cardinals. But the Braves got some legit major league outfitters, some guys that had done some damage, and Duvall, Soler, Peterson, Rosario. I mean, those guys are, in some years, all-star type players.
855-282-8255. Nate must be still ticked off about not going to the lake. That's why he had that comparison yesterday. It's a buzzkill when you're all riled up to go down there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't go. And you're like, yeah, okay.
And I don't know how you're
If I'm being honest, I literally, I've been gone so much, a weekend chilling was not bad.
How do you have all these connections to wealthy folks who have great properties? That's
Use your friends wisely.
There it is. There it is.
so they're your friends' parents?
Sure. Yeah.
No, it seemed like maybe.
No, for
I
sure.
just think you have this network.
See, it all
I think
boils
it's
down
the
to
Nate
money.
network.
It's better than the crime family.
So I could. Money doesn't matter. Yes, it does. You can do a lot of things with money. It doesn't matter until you don't have it, just so all y'all know.
Well, let me go back to one thing Charlie mentioned about the Braves. Dan O'Dowd, the ex-GM who's now on MLB Network yesterday, was really giving the Braves a lot of props. Did he work for the Braves, actually? Maybe. I know the Rockies, but regardless, he said that, you look at the Braves and what they've been able to turn some of their guys into, like Austin Riley just got a $200 million extension.
Earned it.
Good Lord.
And they've turned him into a pretty good third baseman, too. Remember, I think he made his debut, actually, at Busch Stadium, and he was out in left field. But they've grown their ability. They've continued to get better in the big leagues. Ozzie Albies, same sort of thing. Their pitching staff, whether it's Max Fried or Soroka, or you go on and on, they've been able to develop guys, identify who their top guys are in their system, bring them to the big leagues, and they keep getting better. In St. Louis, there seems to be a hurdle, and I can't figure it out. But whether it's pitching or some of the hitters, they show glimpses of stardom, but then they can't ever sustain it.
Well, a guy like Tommy Edman, I think, he's still slumping right now, but he's a guy that not a lot of people thought would be the player that he is. And even with his recent slump, he's a valuable guy, right?
I agree.
He's one of those guys.
He's perplexing, though.
But they've also had injuries, too. Like Tyler can't stay on the field, O'Neill. That season he put together last year, pretty remarkable. I think he's got the talent to do it again, but he's had injuries along the way. Flaherty, everyone knows he has ability. He's not out there.
I
think that's part of the equation too.
I think the difference is that when other teams that are contenders have this scenario where they've got a really good player that can be really good, but he's not playing, they go out and they get a guy. Where we have to somehow find magic out of Yepes, Gorman, and Donovan. And to their credit, they did. They kept this team afloat for 2 months. But then to expect 3 minor league players that might have a higher ceiling than what they're showing right now to kind of carry the boats into the postseason, I think is a little far-fetched.
That's fair. And Yepes right now, he's on a progressive throwing program. He's good. I think he's a major league hitter. But that's a guy who got hurt, and, in spite of his power numbers, they threw him out in the outfield. Now he hurt his arm, so they got to wait on him too.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what they have to say. Bring them in. Get them in. 855-282-8255. Eric in Central West Sim chimes in and goes, Austin Riley started in the outfield because they had Josh Donaldson. He's a natural third base, though.
Yeah, but they didn't. Believe me, when he was coming up, they did not know if he was going to be able to handle third base in the big leagues.
He's a big boy. I think he's going to move off third base.
Big, strong dude.
Big boy. Kind of like, Jordan Walker. That's another thing about the Jordan Walker conversation. First of all, he's blocked anyway, and so is Malcolm Nunez, but he's not the same prospect as Jordan Walker. But Jordan Walker probably ends up being a corner outfielder.
He's already working on that.
Maybe a first baseman. To me, those guys are much more replaceable. I hate to say it. Like, I look at Mason Wynn differently because offensive shortstops are really hard to find. Like, you can plug in a right fielder, a left fielder, even a first baseman. So I'm not saying, hey, we should get rid of Jordan Walker, but Mason Wynn, that type of player, is harder to find than a power-hitting corner outfielder.
I get you.
So you don't like Soto?
No, I like Soto. I think Dylan Carlson's good. I think Dylan Carlson is the same age as Soto. He's way better defensively than Soto. Now, clearly, Soto is a fantastic offensive player, but there's a reason the Cardinals don't want to trade Dylan Carlson plus prospects. And there's a reason the Nationals would want someone like Dylan Carlson, who, by the way, can play center. If you trade Dylan Carlson this year, who's playing center field for the Cardinals? Do you think Harrison Bader's coming back? And if he does, will he be healthy?
Maybe.
I doubt that.
Tyler, if he's healthy, could be in center.
Fat Tony chimes in. Nate's right on all his baseball takes. He's wrong on literally everything else, though. But he's got the baseball down. Fat Tony chimes in. He's on you. Miss Jenny Shannon, those people not wanting Soto because they don't want to get moved from Jordan Walker are dumb. He'll never be Juan Soto, so go get Juan Soto. It's not growing pains. It's family ties, Jim. Come on now. Jose Quintana is a Cardinal. It's a good move. An innings eater who's having a good year that should help the Cardinals. To be honest, I didn't think they'd trade within the division. I really like Oviedo, but in order to get what you have to give, that's what you do.
I don't think they look at the Pirates as a risk to trade talent.
No doubt, man. Jackie Parlay chimes in and goes, too bad the trade deadline has been canceled by Pelosi starting World War III just so she can go visit a microcrypt factory in Taiwan.
A micro crypt?
Yeah, I think it's microchip.
That's a small
Microchip.
gangbanger. That's a small gangbanger.
Jackie parlays.
It's a micro crip.
Oh, it's funny,
Still
man.
dangerous, but very small.
There's a reason you have a great farm system. You find and develop talent better than others. You give up what you have to for Soto, then rebuild the system. It's your strong suit. Gino Oja from Bevo Mill. I believe the Cardinals are 13th in payroll and second or third in attendance and in the TV deals, etc. And there's lots of money being made. Frustrated they won't spend for glaring needs. Always rely on the farm, and that will win, and that will not win a championship. 636.
Well, I mean, they say that, but did Goldschmidt come from the farm system?
I know. I get you on that.
You know, like, I get it. And we want the best player now. Like, I get it. But, and I understand why everyone wants Soto. I agree. It'd be awesome to have him. But they also have to decide if what they're giving up is more value than what they're getting. And there's other guys I would have loved instead of Quintana as an addition to the rotation. But I agree. He fills the bill.
And here's the difference with Soto. When you traded for Goldschmidt, the Cardinals had a very good idea he was going to sign. So you get him for a year, you immediately extend him. You get him essentially for the rest of his career. Nolan Arenado, you knew there was a very good chance that he's staying for essentially 6 years once you added the year. The big difference, and Arenado already had his contract, right? You're inheriting that contract. The huge difference is there ain't no way, in my opinion, there's no way Juan Soto is not hitting free agency because he's a Scott Boras guy, and he's going to be like Jason Hayward in the sense, way better, by the way, but he's going to be like Jason Hayward in the sense that he hits free agency at one of the youngest ages we've ever seen. And that's why he'll get $500 million. So the Cardinals, when you make this move, I don't think you can look at it the same as Goldie and Arenado. You're not getting these guys for 5-6 years. Yeah. Soto, you're probably getting for 2.5 years. Yeah, and he's probably leaving.
Yeah, but then you take him to the Hill, the Science Center.
yeah, the zoo.
He gone.
He gone.
Come on. Guy. How could you not fall in love with this place? The way Arenado has.
You could fall in
and
love
the way
with,
Goldie has.
You could fall in love with the organization and Busch Stadium and the fans, I'll tell you that right now. Because you go other places and you hit a dinger, it ain't like hitting a dinger in Busch Stadium.
People, the players
Yankee Stadium isn't?
What's that?
Yankee Stadium isn't?
Besides Yankee Stadium, Dodger Stadium, Met Stadium. I'm just saying that.
Listen, there is something to the fact that a lot of players do appreciate the Cardinal tradition and playing here. Mm-hmm. But there are other places which are great to play as well. What was that? The Yankees?
Were they in New York? Are they in New York?
What do they call that Dodger Stadium? Oh, they call that Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, too.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is we usually do this. We stereotype. Mm-hmm. But the guy that we say, hey, he's a Cardinal, that's usually Paul Goldschmidt. Yeah. It's usually kind of the 31-year-old boring family man. Yep. The young, kind of hyped up dude, that guy usually doesn't stay here. That's all I'm saying.
I know. I get you.
They usually don't.
Why did you call Goldie boring?
How dare you?
Stoic, boring. I use that as a compliment.
You look at his numbers. I guess those are boring numbers.
Oh,
he's just tweet that out. Look at Goldie's boring.
He's a St. Louis guy.
Hits bombs. Does the right thing. You could almost tell Nate's takes. He's never played with toys. You haven't, hey Nate? You just didn't play with toys when you grew up, did you?
What constitutes a toy?
I don't know, like an action figure, a Ninja Turtle.
I like the Ninja Turtles.
Okay, cars or something like
A Ronald Reagan doll does not constitute a toy.
Is he a neocon to you?
Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
I think he'd be a nice unifier in today's ripped apart society.
A Jimmy Carter voodoo doll for you?
Look, I believe anything would be better than this guy. Alien we
Wait,
have.
so you would choose Carter over Biden right now? Straight up deal with that, right? It's a presidential trade deadline.
Yeah, because you know what? I actually think that Carter, by all accounts, Jimmy Carter was like a decent human being, like a nice, genuine guy. I feel like he just sort of got railroaded by the political brigade. Yeah. I don't think Joe Biden is a nice guy, and I think he's compromised.
Yeah. Hard to argue that. Joe jumps in and goes, prediction time. The Dodgers get Soto.
It's hard to argue that.
The Cardinals missed the playoffs.
Based on the evidence.
Based on the evidence, hard to argue.
Yeah.
Arenado opts out in the offseason and signs with the Dodgers. They will be $100 million over the luxury tax and won't give two Fs about it. Jobu. Yeah.
I don't think
It's hard to argue that.
I don't think he's opting out. I think he does really enjoy it here.
Yeah. All right.
Now I do think guys like him and Goldie are saying, "Okay, front office, you got us here. What else can you do?"
Gino's like, they said Edmonds wouldn't sign back here either, Charlie. St. Louis is different to the players.
Jim Edmonds, 20 years ago. Was Jim Edmonds a Scott Boras client? Name me one Scott Boras
No, but
client.
he was a young guy who wasn't boring. He was an exciting guy. And look, he loves St. Louis.
He wasn't young at the time. He was probably about 30, wasn't he?
Just tired of your disinformation campaign.
Juan Soto's going to be about 25, 26.
Yeah, dude.
He's a Scott Boras guy who will be looked upon to reset the market and have the largest contract ever and surpass Mike Trout. I would say there's a 1% chance Juan Soto signs with anybody before free agency.
Pop quiz. It's pop quiz time right now. Pop quiz time. I'm looking at you. All right, here we go. Angels batted under 200 in July.
Whose question is this?
It's both of you guys.
No, whose question is it that you're reading?
I read it in a paper.
Oh,
There's
all right.
a little quick thing
Okay.
in a paper. I read it. The Angels batted under 200 in the month of July. Who were the only two teams have done that? Who were they?
In baseball
In
history?
baseball history since 1907.
Oh, I have no clue.
Okay.
How about the Miracle Mets?
72?
Yes.
Boom.
Except I meant
One
69.
more. There's
but
one more. One more.
The Mets were awful offensively,
was last year.
even when they were winning.
It was last year. Who was it?
Last year?
Yes.
I'll
Good
just go
call
ahead
on
and say
that.
the Orioles.
Nope.
Pirates.
Diamondbacks?
Nope. Rangers. Rangers batted under 200. What's that called again?
Mendoza line?
Mendoza line. I'm learning things.
You are.
I got that right.
What
I didn't
year?
screw that up.
What year?
What? Last year, the Rangers in 1972 Mets. You got that one. None of you got it, actually, now that I think about it. I thought that was a pretty good quiz.
I'm right in the neighborhood. Those early Mets
You're pretty
teams,
right,
I mean,
yeah.
they
You're
had
right.
great pitching and zero offense.
Juan Soto loves Tower Tea, toasted ravioli, and Catholic grade schools. Of course he'll sign with the Cardinals.
He's going to love Ted Drews.
Somebody just got killed at Ted Drews, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Kid. A drive, a hit and run. Right in front of Ted Drews at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Apparently
Wasn't an
there's-
accident.
Kid. Hit and run, wasn't it?
Yep. Although, all right,
Well, it was an accident.
it was an accident,
Okay.
and they found there was an 18 and 19-year-old kid in a pickup truck who hit the young man who unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
CBC kid.
Yep.
And apparently there's been all sorts of problems. But anybody who's been to Ted Drews, like, there isn't a whole lot of protection between when you're standing in line, the street, Chippewa gets pretty
Oh, yeah.
busy, and then, people are hauling ass right there, and if you're getting ice cream, you're sort of laissez-faire, la-di-da, and you can get hit.
Hey, man, I'm not going to lie to you. When I get older and people are speeding in my subdivision, like I got pissed at kids driving 100 miles an hour down my old subdivision. They don't do it in this one. But the old one, man, I would go out there and my dad would yell, like, I know, I turned into a hillbilly. I don't care. Don't speed.
We want
wanted
the
to-
neighborhood association to put up those little barriers.
Yeah, I was going to say, put a barrier at the end. They flew down our street. I saw my dog get rocked when I was in high school. That ain't going to happen again.
Wow.
Oh, I dragged
Can I turn to Nate again? Nate, do you enjoy getting a little frozen custard, a little treat?
I do, for sure.
See, that's to me the equivalent of
I know.
a toy. Like,
Yeah.
there's Nate with a nice sundae, maybe a cherry on top with a big smile on his face. Doesn't care about Pelosi, puts that aside for a minute,
That's
and
the one
just
thing.
enjoys the ice
no,
cream.
that's what Joe and I have in common, is we both like ice cream.
I like aviator glasses. Me and him have something in common. I
Ice
like
cream
aviators.
with peanut butter cups.
Ooh. Do you like Ted Drews?
Yeah.
Are you like one of the St. Louis guys that Ted Drews is fantastic?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'll eat Andy's.
I'll
that
go to
place
Dairy
right down here in
Queen.
Rock Hill, Dairy Queen,
Damn right.
Oberweis.
Yeah.
I'll eat any ice cream.
I don't know if you guys, if it's around here, I'll bet it is. But Mr. Softy, pretty
We
great.
used to have
Have you
I've
ever-
been called that a couple times. Not
I
anymore,
thought-
mentality.
yeah, mentality.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mentality.
Not anymore.
But when I was at the shore, they have their own custard down there that's great.
Yeah.
But I wanted a Mr. Softy because I hadn't had one It's great too.
Mr. Softy ice cream.
Yeah, it comes in. They have trucks that go around.
You know when the one the ice cream, the Licks down by in Baldwin, kind of got shot up by that crazy guy on a bike, so that's kind of shut down. Sucks. When Silky. Was it Silky's? Yeah, Silky's.
Silky's got shut up.
Got shut up by a psycho on a motorcycle. And the kids are working, and they shot the damn place up. They boarded it up.
So we
Middle of July, it's boarded up.
We got hit and runs and drive-bys at our local
Clown.
Hello.
at our local ice cream places.
Clown show.
Charlie,
Crazy.
this is an epidemic. That's an attack on our soft serve ice cream places.
Middle of July, ice cream places closed down. Come on. Juan Soto hates Nate. He'll never sign here. Rob Dibble.
What?
There are sports that misses Nancy. There are reports that miss Nancy Reagan.
Don't read that.
Damn you, Jackie.
Charlie that was like
Thank you,
wisdom.
Charlie.
I was trying to help
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Charlie's like, come on, kid.
That's not nice to
That's
the
not nice.
deceased.
Nah, they said Emmons went. Oh yeah, the team isn't good enough to go all in on Montas. Mo went the conservative route and see if they can catch lightning in a bottle. Sanderson.
So it's Montas. I get it. That was like the name everyone wanted. I do think a lot of it was sort of like the popular thing to do. Yeah, he would have been a nice addition. Is he the answer to all? I mean, is he that good? I don't. Fine, he'd be great, but is that the guy that would solve all the problems? I don't think so.
Quintana's FIP is better than Montas. They're pretty similar pitchers this year. They
But
really
everyone
are.
we got to have Montas, and I looked at the numbers, and they're like, the guy they got's right in the ballpark with that.
And the injury that he just had, maybe he's fine. But when I hear shoulder inflammation and he has to miss 20 plus, 3 starts, and it was in July. I mean, he's only made a couple of handful of starts since he's come back. So that was definitely a problem.
I was honestly hoping for a name that wasn't on the radar. Like
There might be.
a number 2, but they're not going to go out and get another starting pitcher.
You don't think?
I don't think so. A number 2 guy out of the blue would be like, that's the guy that's going to really beef up the rotation. Number 2 with number 1 stuff. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I do think, even though I really like the move, I'm looking at this more for the postseason. And when you line up, all due respect, Waino, Michaelis,
Always.
Quintana, that's why you can disagree. But man, I'm not counting on it. I'm not counting on it. We can't count on it. But if Flaherty can get back, I'm telling you, when you have Jack Flaherty in a postseason rotation, it just feels different. It just feels different.
I agree.
And when you can line him up if he's healthy versus the big boys, everybody else down the line just looks a little bit better.
Yep.
There's no question. And that's why I fell victim to, I think we have enough starting pitching. Because Reyes was in the mix. We had guys, we're going to try Hicks out there. Hey, you know what? We got enough. You never have enough starting pitching. It's kind of like Charlie Brown in the football, right? I mean, we have enough. I think we do have enough starting pitching. We don't.
And, oh, by the way, if you're able to, at the end of the season, playoffs, bring Palante, he was really good the other day.
He was.
But if you can bring him out of the pen, throw 2 innings in the playoffs, I think that's a fantastic role for him. I don't think you love Palante as a rookie, as a postseason starter, but I think you're feeling really good about him as a guy out of the bullpen, maybe the first guy out of the pen in the playoffs.
I get you. Eric chimes in and goes, Flaherty is done, capitalized. Time to move on from him. Brian, what do you
I
think?
said you can't count on him, but
No.
there's a chance.
Wait, and that's the other thing, too. I get it if you're like, he's done for the season. But enough Cardinal fans are like, he's done, move on. He's never coming back. Well, you don't know that. And he's so talented. Why would you even say that, right? I mean, you have to see what you can salvage out of it.
Yeah.
But I would agree, if he comes back, it'd be great. But I don't think it's likely. And secondly, you also want to play the long game. Like, you don't want him to pitch 1 inning and then hurt himself again because he came back too quick. That might have happened last time.
Go get Thor, Jobu chimes in. Syndergaard?
He's had his health issues too.